Good morning, YouTube. I tried so hard to stay here in Africa, but I really think my time is up now. I had enough. I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit scams, the bullshit not having no snacks.
Let it be known that there are no snacks in Africa. Racism is rough, but have you ever been to a country with no snacks before?
I cannot afford to live here. I feel broke and I feel poor in Africa. I feel like I'm going to be out there selling some shit soon.
How are you broke in a third world country? Half the reason people move to these places and put up with a lower standard of living is because it's cheaper. That being said, over the years there have been many people who feel that America is a bad place to live, and so they're moving.
I'm leaving by the end of the year.
I know you're in Argentina, but
Yeah, living in the U.S. was too triggering.
Granted, most of these situations are just people with no intention of moving, threatening to move because their favorite presidential candidate lost. But some of these people actually stick to their word, and because of that, we have a lady who has moved to Ghana in Africa. However, after just a handful of weeks of living there, she's starting to think that maybe America isn't so bad, and one of the big reasons why she wants to move back to the U.S. is because Africa is too expensive.
This ain't making no sense to me. I pay $130 a day to drive around in a truck. I pay $100 a day to live in a 2-bedroom and the 6 of us with no hot water, no stove, no refrigerator. The refrigerator broke.
How are you paying $130 a day for a car? That's like $4,000 a month. Are you financially retarded? That's the payment of a car that is well over $100,000. There's no way that this is the only way to get transportation in Africa.
I live in America in a mansion, and we don't have to put no water on the stove. We got steady hot water, steady electricity, and the only time our electricity get cut off is when we don't pay the bill. And we got it so good now, we got prepaid electricity, so if we forget to pay the bill, we put some money on that prepaid thing, and it comes right back on in 2 minutes. In less than 2 minutes. This shit right here didn't come on for 14 hours yesterday.
I gotta say, I have no idea how long it would take for the electricity company to turn my power back on, because I've never been late on the bill. Even if the bill is past due, I believe there's like a 10-day grace period before they shut your power off, so this chick must be incredibly irresponsible with money. Also, welcome to the developing world. I don't know why you moved expecting the exact same modern conveniences as America, but it kinda seems like this lady had some pretty rose-tinted glasses before she went to Africa. Like she didn't even vacation there for a week to see if she liked the place.
The bullshit animals, it's scorpions outside the house, it's big ass spiders, it's big ass lizards, colorful lizards you ain't never seen before, all in the fucking room with you, sleeping with you.
Did you even research this place before you moved? You know there's this website called YouTube where you can watch people share their experiences of what it's like to live in different countries, and more importantly, those people will also tell you all the positives and negatives of that area.
I'm not happy. Every house I look for, the house is expensive as hell. Oh my God. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1 million to live in a house where you look outside and all you see is turkeys and ducks and chickens and sheeps and old malnourished cows. I didn't even pay that much for my house in America.
Again, this would have been incredibly easy to just Google. Here, I did this in like 10 seconds. Houses in Ghana. So why are the housing prices such a shock to you?
All the bullshit people trying to scam you when you go outside thinking you rich. So they trying to get more money off of you. I can't afford to live here. I cannot. I love the people. Don't get me wrong, when I'm outside, I'm having fun. I love people. I'm really trying to wrap my head around how are Americans coming to Africa and being happy. Please comment down below. Because for me, I'm ready to go. And I always used to say, if it's up to me, it will be. And I'm going to go out to Africa and make shit happen. No, I don't want to. I want to take my businesses back to America. I want to open up shop back in America, open up my dentist office, and all the stuff that I was going to do out here in America.
I love the people, but everyone's a scammer. Sounds great. Anyway, that's all for that video. And most people who reacted to this clip thought the story was over. However, I did some research, and apparently this is a whole movement called Blaxit. I found several channels of black people sharing their experiences of leaving America to escape racism, I guess. More importantly, though, one of the channels, called Go Black to Africa, had an archive that shows that this event with Ghana Lady actually happened back in 2020. I believe she used to have a YouTube channel, but it's been since deleted, so unfortunately there's no deep dive. However, the good news is that an additional video about her move was archived, so the story continues. In this next video, our Africa lady gets on camera with her husband. His role is not that important, he stays silent almost the entire time. But outside of that, this video is a response to the backlash that she got for the first one. Well, backlash is probably the wrong word. People were making fun of her.
I was basically telling everybody what they will experience when they come to the motherland. And we keeping it raw and unfiltered, uncut. So you have everybody talking about, oh, the motherland is beautiful. It is a beautiful place. But you got to know reality when you get here. Reality has to set in. So I'm basically telling them, look, when you come here, don't think it's going to be a parade for you, because it's not. Don't think that it's going to be snacks and it's going to be the same thing in America, because it's not.
Wow, she is really insistent on the no snacks thing. You would think that this would be more of a wake-up call for her to get healthy, but it probably wasn't. That being said, she elaborates more on why she decided to move to Africa.
And I'm very in tune. I'm very in tune with the universe. I'm very in tune with my ancestors. I heard the calling and I came. Africa needs help. It needs work. We came out here to build Africa. I closed all my businesses down. And of course, I could have stayed in that colonized as United Snakes of America and dealt with their bullshit and kept getting my money, okay? So I could have sat there and I could have dealt with that. But no, I decided, no, I'm going to close all shop. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to get me a bus, and I'm gonna do free teeth cleaning and spas for the people in the village.
Right, okay, so she moved for humanitarian reasons because Africa needs help. I can agree with that. There's a lot of poverty and suffering there. It would be nice if there were less of those. So Ghana Lady wants to help, which is why she moved to the safest and most developed part of the country.
We came from the gutter, and we managed to pull ourselves up and look at everybody else still sitting there. So we're not going to go to Africa and be fucked up and be guttered too. I ain't asked nobody for nothing. I ain't asked for no handouts. I didn't ask for no parades. I was just sharing my experience. Yes, I am in Accra, and I knew that Accra was the most expensive place, and I knew it was the most developed as well. I wanted to be in a developed place, but at the end of the day, don't shit me. I always used to say, get me, don't shit me.
For some reason, though, I feel like she's lying about something. I mean, she touts herself as this rich entrepreneur with multiple businesses.
I have money. I can go wherever the fuck I want to go.
So she's this great rich business owner, but she's having trouble paying her electric bill, and she stresses out about houses that are a few $100,000, which is insane because dentists make a lot of money for taking care of people's teeth, and I assume that her husband works too, and they previously owned a house, so they would have money from selling that. Like, how are they strapped for cash? Maybe there's something I'm missing here, but at a first glance, it sounds like they make a lot of irresponsible financial decisions.
But I want to live better in Africa than I do at home, of course. So, of course, I came out here to buy beach land, to build a house. And while I'm building the house, buy another house to live in while I build my house, because I'd be damned if I'm going to be sitting in somebody's living room.
Which is crazy because the video that everyone knows you for was filmed in someone else's living room at an Airbnb that you rented in Africa.
I rent an Airbnb for $100 a night. Airbnbs, if you want a nice one, it's going for $100 a night.
So for a while, you rented a broken Airbnb for $100 a day, and then you bought a house so you could live in Africa while your beachfront property was being built. Like, you're complaining about everything being too expensive, while at the same time you choose the most expensive path to live in. Any other dumb financial decisions that you want to complain about?
We have 5 children, but we only have 4 of us. Four children with us. And it's 2 of us, so it's 6 of us all right now. As far as me renting a car or whatever, how else am I getting around? Every little car is that small. It's little bugs. All of us, 6 of us, cannot get in little bugs and ride around. So I had to rent a big SUV that can go through these muddy streets, because the streets, as you know, aren't paved. So we have to have a 4-wheel drive that can get through these streets. So me renting a vehicle was $130 a day. I knew that was going to be the case anyway. If you go research too, you'll find out that that's the average of a vehicle. So I didn't get gaffled nowhere. I just don't like the prices.
Let me clarify that she lives in a place called Accra, which is the capital city of Ghana. This is a well-developed area that has roads and people with normal cars. According to my research, really the only places that have dirt roads in Accra are the new housing developments, which is typical of any housing development. Now, after researching the specifics of this, I have to say that if you do things properly outside of schooling, Ghana is a very affordable place to live. Accra is a place where you can basically get a full meal for $1 from street food vendors that look actually very clean. India should take notes. That being said, the $7,000 a month for a car and an Airbnb is ridiculous. I checked out car rentals and it looks like they're about the same price as American car rentals. Even with COVID pricing, an SUV is probably not costing $130 a day unless it's a luxury vehicle. As for why she's renting, well, that's because there's not really a leasing system in Ghana. If you want a car, you have to pay for it in full, unless you want to pay like 25% interest. But paying in full shouldn't be a problem because Miss Dennis said that she was rich. And I assure you that no actual rich person would want to burn money at the rate of $46,000 a year if they could afford the car outright. I mean, it would be cheaper to just Uber everywhere or take a shuttle bus. As for the house, she is correct in saying that renting is quite expensive in Accra. That's if you rent a house. However, there are plenty of apartment complexes that cost almost nothing compared to what her Airbnb costs that could fit her whole family while her house is being built. I'm not sure if you have to pay in full like you do for the cars, but $100,000 shouldn't be that much because she's rich. There are plenty of things that she can do if she doesn't like the prices, but I'm guessing she doesn't want to do that because it sounds like she's burning money trying to live some sort of luxury lifestyle that she can't actually afford. Like I said, I think there's a lot that she's lying about. I'm not going to trust a dentist with crooked teeth. Anyway, let's continue to hear what it's like to live outside the Western standard of living.
Don't have me come all the way out here, and because you see I'm American, which you don't even know that I'm a Ghanaian too, but okay, I'm going to give you that I'm American because of my accent. So don't have me come all the way to Africa and say a house is $400,000, but you tell me it's $700,000 because you feel as though I'm rich. Everybody I've ever talked to looked at me like I was dollar signs. As soon as they see me, it's money, money, money. I can tell you 15 stories right now since we've been in Africa where people try to overcharge us and overprice us, and I'm on their ass.
Right, so not only is she going for the most expensive land, but there are also tons of scammers who are trying to charge her double for the house because she's American. It's funny how she'll call the US the United Snakes of America, followed by going to Africa and being flooded with tons of people trying to scam her. And gee, it's so weird to be in a place where people will look at you and treat you worse than others based on your birthplace. That almost sounds like prejudice. In fact, it sounds exactly like prejudice.
You're not going to fuck with me. You're not going to fuck me over. You're not going to have me come all the way the hell out here to build your dirty ass country up for you to sit here and tell me, oh, in order for you to get out the airport, you're going to have to pay us $1,800. In order for you to get out the airport, you're going to have to put $200 extra. In order for you to get out the airport, I'm going to tell your husband that he tested positive for coronavirus so you can pay me some extra money. Fuck no.
It looks like Miss Black Savior out here who came to fix Africa, got a reality check, and got some insight into what's actually hurting the motherland. It's not some white oppressor. It's culture and how their society is structured. And if you're trying to fix that structure, then maybe you shouldn't move to someone else's land, call it a dirty-ass country, and then behave like the natives are inferior to you.
And so for the people who say, oh, Africa is not weak, it's not for weak people, let me tell you something. All Africans are weak. I got a fucking African father who's weak as fuck. I know all Africans are weak. They aren't built like us in America.
How are you not prejudiced or a racist? How are you not a part of the problem that you said you wanted to get away from?
So let's be honest and let's keep it real. Nobody wants to live like this. They shouldn't even be living like this. I want to take half of Africa back to America because they can see how real living is. Because this shit is pathetic.
Right, take all the Africans to the land of the white colonizers to show them what real living is like. You can't make up this extreme lack of self-awareness. But the worst part of their YouTube channel being gone is that I really wonder what exactly she considers to be racist. What was so bad about America that she thought that moving to Ghana would be better? Because really, basically when these types complain about racism, most of it amounts to people just being kind of mean, which is nothing compared to how she said she was being treated by the people in Ghana. So I can't give her exact words on how she defines racism, but there are other channels with black people who have moved to Ghana for the same reasons, who have also shared similar sentiments about scammers, by the way.
I think of a story of my mother-in-law who was talking about having to get her electricity taken care of, and every time she would go to pay the bill, the person who would process her would be like, oh, there's another fee that wasn't there last time. But what they wanted was this cash bribe to get things done.
Right.
You're always having to think about, is somebody trying to get it over on me?
Imagine having no idea what to expect in terms of monthly bills because everyone's trying to rip you off. But since this family shares some similar beliefs to the previous one, maybe we can get some sort of answer by listening to what their gripes are about American racism as they talk about going back to visit family after being in Africa for a while.
But yeah, we were in a store. We were literally the only black people that I'd seen for about 45 miles.
That doesn't sound like racism. That just sounds like you're unhappy if white people exist around you, which actually makes you seem kind of racist. I mean, I've visited plenty of places where whites aren't the majority, and I've never felt like people were racist just for existing around me as a different race. And let me just emphasize that they aren't the first ones to accuse white people of being racist simply because they're in the majority. It's literally the main argument of Robin DiAngelo's famous book, White Fragility, and a lot of people repeat that sentiment.
They do have CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera here, international news stations that put it out there as it is.
Right, of course, they watch CNN, the network that is notorious for lying about everything, and will go as far as to doctor footage of Joe Rogan to make him look more sick because he didn't agree with them on COVID. So this couple probably doesn't have the most accurate depiction of America, but let's continue with what else they think is racist.
You had an experience when you were at the mall.
Yeah, so I'm out at the mall wearing this exact outfit, this shirt, and my necklace and my bracelet. Something I would wear any day in Ghana and it just be a normal outfit.
Oh man, that's too black, that's too ethnic.
You know, the black people who saw me, I would get jeers from them like, oh, who's this guy? Where's he from? What point? It was like, what point is he trying to make? You can see that in the like, oh,
no, you can't wear that here, man.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, we get it, you're black, It was like one of those things.
So black people are now the racist because they think your shirt is too loud? I thought the whole reason that you moved to Ghana is because you wanted to be around more black people.
One of the things that has been most amazing about this past year and a half is the fact that we're not black here. Not as our primary identifier.
Yeah, that's totally true because like in the States, you're always black first and everything else second.
I mean, only if you constantly feel the need to bring up your race. Anyway, let's see how he believes white people perceive the shirt.
For the white people, it was weird because they were looking at me like, who's this dude? Again, what point is he trying to prove? It's just, the eyes were on me. And I know it's because of what I wore, because I went back the next day and nobody looked at me any different. And I had on, just an Adidas shirt and a hat. So
you were dressed appropriately for your race.
Yeah. And so it just made me aware of how I was presenting myself. I couldn't just wear what I wanted to wear and be comfortable without noticeable eyes on me. I didn't like that.
So this is called the spotlight effect, where people tend to overestimate how much others are paying attention to them. He felt anxiety wearing that shirt in America, so he projected his negative feelings onto people looking at him. He also could have simply been looking at people more often because of the anxiety, which would prompt them to look back and result in more staring. But based on his story, no one told him that they didn't like the shirt, nor did he ask anyone what they thought. He just felt like they were negatively judging him. Now, me personally, I don't have any problem with his shirt. I actually think the design looks pretty cool and I like the color. I don't see why anyone would judge you poorly because of it. But I mean, come on. Surely they must have at least one example of actual racism that they've experienced that's not just in their head.
We were at a Walmart and we were standing in line, and the person in front of me who checked out, a white middle-aged gentleman, the cashier was a younger, blonde, vibrant girl. The gentleman in front of me, hey sir, how are you doing today? Great, thank you. Did you need anything else? Nope. Have a great day. Gone. I get up there and I'm waiting for her to greet me. And she never did. So I was like, oh. So I, being me, was like, big smile. Hey, how are you today? Fine. Okay, so we finished the whole thing, right? And I'm waiting. I get my receipt and I'm like, thank you. I didn't get a have a great day. I didn't get a you're welcome. I didn't get a goodbye. I didn't get anything. My mom was with me and we took a few steps away and she was like, well, that was different.
I don't know, maybe she forgot? Cashiers check out like hundreds of people per day. I wouldn't exactly call this racism. Racism is like if someone beat you up because you're the wrong color, or prevented you from using certain public amenities, or made you abide by a different set of laws. Something that is not an example of racism is, people looked at me when I wore this orange shirt. I mean, this is so dumb that it reminds me of those girls who go to the gym while filming for their OnlyFans or their Fansly pages, saying, "Oh my God, that guy looked in my direction. He sexually assaulted me."
Do you feel like you felt the impact of all of these microaggressions and slights and requirements for code switching and staying in your place, all of the things we just kind of talked about? Did you feel the weight of that before you started traveling to Ghana?
Yes, and it bothered me.
Oh no, microaggressions. Code switching, how terrible. Code switching is when you change your behavior based on the environment that you're in, which is something that everyone of all races does on a constant basis. I act differently around my friends from how I act around my grandparents. And yes, I also act differently when I'm around different races. But these people will have you believe that it's belligerent racism if an Asian person asks you to take off your shoes before entering the house. Oh my God, the Asians are forcing us to code switch and be less black because they don't want dirt on their floors.
We were out at a store. The boys were behaving the exact same way that they behave when we're out at stores in Ghana. There was no, they weren't acting crazy. Our kids are
Pretty well mannered.
Well-mannered. Yeah. They're not ridiculous. But yeah, it was just uncomfortable. And I know that sounds really weird. Leo was doing what Leo usually does. He would take something off the shelf and bring it to me and ask if, we could have this. And then if I said no, he would put it back. If I said yes, he put it in the cart. But I felt like I had to, tell him not to touch things and, stay with me and don't talk loud. And all of a sudden I felt like I was correcting him. Stop being so black. Don't be yourself. People are judging you because of your color. You're the only black person in the room. You can't be you. You have to be the different version of you. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out how to code switch at the age of 6.
What? What does any of this have to do with race? It sounds like kids just being kids, followed by you instructing them on how to act in public. But for some reason, you've added this extra unnecessary level of anxiety to it. Honestly, it sounds like they were already behaving properly, and you unnecessarily felt the need to tell them, "Don't make the white man mad," which, speaking of microaggressions, that kind of villainizes white people to your kids. This is so ridiculous. Even if you assume that all the white people in the store were secretly judging her children, how is that worse than people constantly trying to scam and backstab you in Africa?
As a very wise Ghanaian elder told me, don't trust anyone. Anyone. He specifically said, I don't trust him. He's pointing at his wife, he's pointing at his son.
Do you feel like it takes away from the experience because you always have to be on guard? Doesn't that minimize the experience?
There's dangers and you want to look out for them.
That is crazy. You would rather live in a society where you can trust no one than live in a place where a cashier forgets to say hi to you. But as much as there are people who watch CNN who do ridiculous things, there are also plenty of black people who hate this messaging and are tired of the racism narrative where no actual racism is occurring.
I am black, I'm not oppressed. I am free. I do what I want. You have the skills. This is a country where you have the skills. You want to do what you want, you do it. Stop forcing on people to accept that they're oppressed. They are not. I am not oppressed. I am black. Black is black more than any race. Where's the Black Lives Matter? So why don't you go? You start your kids at home. Why don't you start? I'm not carrying anything saying Black Lives Matter. I know I matter.
I love how you have the white chick telling the black girl that she's oppressed. That's just perfect. It reminds me of that moment where Kelly Osbourne tries to help the Mexicans out by saying, "Who will clean the toilets?"
If you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? When I'm saying
there's more jobs to be.
These people aren't your friends. They want to keep you down and demotivated so that you can't do any more than a low-wage job. That is the actual racism. You think these people want to help you when they constantly have this passive-aggressive set of lowered expectations for certain races? Like that statue of a black woman in New York where the creator was like, hey, let's represent black people with an obese woman who has her hands on her hips and kind of has an angry face. I just want to make sure that we reinforce as many negative black stereotypes as possible, while I say that we're providing representation for the marginalized. The best part is that a bunch of black people in the comments on the artist's Instagram are saying that they hate the statue. Again, these people aren't your friends. I mean, they call being on time racist. They don't want you to be able to keep a job. These days, they would look at that movie Stand and Deliver and say it's bad because a math teacher teaches Mexican kids calculus so they can get good paying jobs and experience a much higher standard of living. these people would say that you're whitewashing them or forcing them to live with aspects of whiteness by just trying to get them a good job.
I want to have a conversation with you today about whiteness. I was having a great chat today with a dear friend of mine who is a Black woman, and we were talking about white women and white supremacy and how a lot of white people uphold white supremacy by just existing. I mean, we do see people of color go the capitalist route and try to become billionaires, but at the same time, it's always in proximity to whiteness.
You've got to be kidding me. Here, watch Ironheart instead of Stand and Deliver, where the hero obtains her superpower by stealing it, and instead of being good out of a desire to help people, she wants to be iconic.
I want to build something undeniable, something iconic.
Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness. I can give you the tools to help you carry out your vision. But anyone who's ever accomplished anything iconic in life has had to do some questionable things to get it done.
Right, don't just make her a thief, make her arrogant and selfish too. You know how Spider-Man sacrifices the things he wants in life to help people? Well, let's do a Black character where she helps others to feed her own ego and show how great she is. Not all that different from the Ghana lady, actually. However, as I've said in previous content, I think the majority of Black people actually find this stuff condescending and demeaning. And despite all the DEI types telling everyone that America is the worst place in the world, I think that most people understand that we actually have it pretty good here. Sure, there are problems and there are plenty of things that I would like to fix about this country, but the reality is that no matter where you go, you're going to have to deal with at least some BS.
Why is it so hard for foreigners to get a license in Japan?
I really don't know, but it took me 22 tries to do it. Basically, I failed it the first time, failed it the second time, and I heard that, maybe by the third time you'll pass it.
So the English test is a little harder than the Japanese test?
No, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder, not a little bit, a lot harder.
Do you feel like it's discriminatory against foreigners to make this so hard to get a license?
Yeah, but that's the life you live in Japan.
And you've been here how long?
25 years.
And you have your license now?
I have my driver's license now. I'm driving, and I love it.
Yeah, this is annoying, and it should be changed in the future, and certainly Japan has its problems, but it's not a deeply oppressive system where people walk around in chains all the time, and neither is America. I think probably the message of the day here is gratitude. I say that because I see a lot of people who are just dissatisfied and unhappy all the time, especially because I watch a lot of crazies for a living who think that everything is terrible and nothing is ever enough. That being said, it actually works very well to just take a step back and appreciate the things that you have in your life. Not for some hippie spiritual reason or as a moral platitude, but for practical reasons. If you don't appreciate the things that you have or have gratitude for them, you won't maintain them. You won't do what's required to maintain relationships, which will subject you to a lot of loneliness or being around a bunch of low-quality people, or you won't do what's required to maintain your personal items, which will ruin your bank account, or worse, you obsess over a new thing, buy it, and forget about it 10 seconds later. Does that not describe the Ghana lady who, by the way, chased the newest and flashiest thing like beachfront property while forgetting how good she had it where she came from? Meanwhile, she landed herself in a place that she hates with a cabinet that can't be opened because someone put a cooling unit next to it. So there's real value in taking a second to just be happy that you have clean water, electricity, a roof, and people who want to spend time with you, instead of always focusing on what you lack. Now, that's not to say that you can't strive for more, and you should strive for more, but be careful about doing that at the expense of things that are good in your life. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.